Mandala newspaper, which made its debut on August 13, 1969, has been a staple of the Belizean media for almost 6 decades. It went from being a weekly newspaper to a bi-weekly newspaper as it highlights events taking place in our nation. If it is Tuesday or Friday, it is time to purchase an Mandala newspaper. Currently, it is the leading newspaper with the widest reach in Belize. As a child and into my early adulthood, my uncle, who sold newspapers, would have given me an Mandala newspaper every Friday, and so began my relationship with the newspaper. Other members of my immediate family did not share the same interests. For example, my mother would only be interested in those articles that I brought to her attention. I would usually read the news articles on the front page. Thereafter, I would scan the newspaper to see what other sections piqued my interest. Apart from hard news, there were opinion columns. While I rarely read the editorial and from the publisher columns, I liked reading articles by Colin Hyde since I was intrigued with his style of writing. I read other sections of the newspaper simply because my inquisitive mind wanted to know about other occurrences taking place in society. These sections included marriages and deaths and classified ads. The crossword, puzzle, and sports sections were not of interest to me. After my uncle's life ended tragically, I stopped getting the Mandala newspaper for free. However, I was already hooked and found myself purchasing the newspaper. When I decided to work for the media, I was drawn to work for the Mandala Press Limited since I already had a history with its newspaper and because of the prestige it holds in society. After interviewing for a reporter's position, I got the job. Consequently, my affiliation with the newspaper went from being a consumer of the Mandala newspaper to a producer of its content. During my tenure at the Mandala Press Limited, I wrote political articles of election results, such as in Kayo UDP 4 PUP 2, economical stories such as European market sugar prices takes a drop, domestic price could rise, and educational stories such as SJC takes bold step, African and Mayan history now available on school's website. I also wrote about new initiatives coming from the police department, such as Meet and Greet, which presently continues when Senior Superintendent Chester Williams, who is now the Commissioner of Police, was appointed as Amandala's 2015 Man of the Year. I wrote the article. The introduction of social media changed the news trajectory. Prior to social media, there was a delay between the coverage of news and the dissemination of news. Meanwhile, the gap varies depending on the medium covering the news. With the demands of social media, print, radio, and television now need to produce their news on social media platforms immediately. Seemingly, the Mandela Press Limited is grappling with embracing social media norms, as the medium does not regularly post news on its social media platforms. Additionally, the newspaper needs a facelift, since after almost 6 decades, it is still being printed in black and white. While its news articles once encouraged public discussion, other media houses that are keeping up with social media are attracting a larger share of the market. It remains to be seen if failing to keep up with the changing times will cause the newspaper's demise. My affiliation with the newspaper opened doors to work for broadcast media, and as a result, I transitioned to work for a radio and television media house. Today, I still purchase the newspaper, but mainly due to my interest in the advertisements, as I would have already learned about the news it published from social media. For sure, its news stories would provide more information than social media platforms. However, my time is too precious to be rereading old news.